Now we can also use indexes for sorting the data. So here we are filtering it with age, but we put this dot sort with gender here. So we see that it uses both age and gender here in the index scanning, because we are using the gender field for sorting. So this is an important feature in MongoDB, that it can use indexes since the data is already in ordered values in the indexes. We can use that directly to filter the data while filtering the data. If we are not using indexes and if we have a large amount of data and we execute sort there, MongoDB can actually time out because it has a memory of 32 megabytes for sorting, and it will not be efficient at all. It will take a lot of time. So indexes are very helpful for sorting. Now, when we find our indexes here by using get indexes, this was the index that we created, and this is the default index of ID that we already have here. So this is also an unique index. So there cannot be two IDs. That will be a duplicate value. So if we find one person here, one contact, we can also put a unique ID. We can also put unique on another field here while using index. So here for email, we write this unique one. We are creating an index for email which should be unique. So when we run this, we get this server error that we already have an email which is twice in the dataset collection. So this was the email ID that is twice. We have two here. So this can be used to prevent the duplicacy of data. We use this to ensure that we have unique email ID or any other field every time when we add new data. But we if we already had it here, this will also give this error. And if we try to add another duplicate, then also it will give an error in the future. So this is the drop indexes. We put this star to drop all the indexes together. And then we have this single ID, which is the default index already. So now when we have certain queries that we don't use a lot, we use very rarely to query certain fields, then we can use this partial filter. This partial filter expression while creating an index. So for example, we have this, we are creating an index for age, but in that we create this partial filter expression for gender only male. So only males will, in the age while creating an index, only the gender with male will get stored in the index and females will not. So then, for example, we run this query for age greater than 16. We find one, we see that this one that contacted we got is actually a female. So we created this partial filter expression, but while running this query, we did not specify the gender here. So MongoDB will not take a risk here. It will give the complete data when we are not specifying the exact query that we want. So if we just run this with age, this will give the complete data without the partial filter, because we created that for the gender, we have to specify that. So here uh, here if we specify gender male with this age filter, we get only male here. So this is how we can use partial filter expression to use the indexes on queries that we use very rarely. So this will be more efficient. This will store and this will take less space and less time. Now we create a new collection users and insert many. For example, we insert person with name and email and another with just name. So we can create index on both name and email here. For example, we create this index on email where email should be unique. We put this unique true. But then if we try to insert another document here with just name, so it will give a duplicate key error because of this unique, because we inserted two persons, one with name and email and one with just name. So the MongoDB will take where we did not put the email as null. So this will also be null. So this will give a duplicate key error where both the emails are null. So it will take no value as null value here. So this gives duplicate key error. To resolve this, we can put partial filter expression here where we put this email exists true. So we only want this unique to work here if we have an email existing in the document. Otherwise, if we just want to insert without the email, we can do that too. So this will not give a duplicate error. So unique will not work when the email is not present. So we see we can insert in the document here. We have this created at function that we can use in MongoDB to get the current date and time. So if we create a new collection here and insert one random data and we created that. You see this is the current date and time here. So we can also create an index on this date and time. And this is another function that we have in MongoDB. For example, in an application, we want to get a document for a specific amount of time. For example, when we have sessions which have to expire after a few seconds or minutes, so we can use this expire after seconds. We can put this number here, for example 10 seconds. After 10 seconds this session will have to expire. Whatever data we insert, that will have to expire after 10 seconds. So we have this data here, we insert another, so we have this two. Then after 10 seconds we see that first one was deleted and after that the second one was deleted also. This will only look to delete after 10 seconds when we insert a new document here. So then MongoDB will start scanning the entire collection. This will not be automatically starting after the first document was added. Let me see both are deleted. Now we create a new collection here and insert many name, age and salary. Two documents here. And then we create an index for name. We have these execution stats which give all the stats how this operation was performed. It uses index scan here. is the index name. Here we have something called total document examined, total keys examined. So this tells whether a document, how many documents are scanned after looking at the index. So it will look at the index and there the key to the document is present. So then it scans the document. So this we had one document inside our collection. So this will scan one document here as it tells. But then if we write this, we get ID as default here. So if we put ID to 0, we don't want to display the fetch the ID. We just want to fetch the name. So here we see that total documents examined becomes 0 because this query that we run here for just name, we already had it in the index. We created the index on name. So index has the key to the document, but while creating this index, we already had the value at the index. So this will not have to scan the entire collection for the document. It already has the name here. So here we see that the document scan is 0. So this will also save time when we can use this way when we just want to fetch the data for which we created the index for. So this will be helpful. Now while using explain, I have this winning plan and rejected plans. For example, we create an index, compound index for age and name. This is the only way right now that we should be creating this because we already have a single field index for name. So this was as we saw earlier, whatever we write first on the left hand side in the compound index, it can be search, it can be used to search for that single field also and this compound field for both age and name also, but this cannot be used for the second field that we write here. We already had for name, single field for name. Now we can use this for single field for age and both age and name. So by writing query, this order does not matter since we have both name and age here. So while using this, we see here that in winning plan, we have this index for both age and name. And then we have something called rejected plans in which we have this index called name. So MongoDB will automatically see all the indexes that we have and pick the most useful index that can be used to fetch the data. Now, this MongoDB has a certain method for um, to determine which index to use at which query. Since we want to fetch here for both name and age, it will be using this. Now we have another function in explain that we can put, which is all plans execution. So this will tell how much time it would have taken if we have used another index which was rejected. So this gives the complete information here. So now we have something called multi-key indexes. Here we create a new collection and insert one document here. name and hobby, we have an array here because we have multiple mm, for both of them, and here we also have an embedded document. So if we find one, we see this, and then we create an index for the hobbies, which was an array inside of the document. So we find hobbies for sports, we get this entire document, and then when we use this explain with hobbies at sports, so here we see that this does the index scan here for the hobbies index. But if we do the same for addresses, because addresses in address we have the embedded document inside of the array, so we see that this does the collection scan, because indexes don't by default support this. MongoDB does not go that far to get the embedded documents in multi-key. So this will be a collection scan. We can resolve this also, but so this is the multi-key indexes that we have. MongoDB will take the all the values in the array and will store them as keys, as multiple keys here. So they can be used in to fetch the data, to fetch by using these individual fields here. Now for this embedded document, if we want to fetch this with indexes, we can write this. Earlier we used this addresses dot street, which was the usual method. So this will take collection scan, but here if we write this, so MongoDB will now take this entire document as a single key, as a single element. So this will store this entire street of main streets. So when we use this indexes, this will now be using this index scan here. So we can use indexes for both arrays and embedded documents like this. Now also, since we created an index for addresses earlier, we can also create an index for addresses dot streets. So inside of an embedded documents, if we create this index, this will also then use the index scan only instead of the collection scan that it was using before. So this is how we can use it. Also, in compound indexes, in creating compound indexes, we can use these single field indexes, but we cannot use multi-key indexes inside of the compound indexes. This will give this parallel array, since for both of these fields we have arrays. We can use this as first a single field and then an array, that will be fine. But if both of these are arrays, or this will give this parallel array server error.